At a family barbecue, I spent hours grilling, hosting, and serving everyone. When I sat down to eat, my sister-in-law said loudly, "Oh look, she finally decided to join us." Everyone laughed, including my husband. I pushed my plate away, got up, and went inside. A month later, they asked me to host again. I said no. Then I watched them fumble with overcooked burgers and paper plates that blew away in the wind. That day, I finally enjoyed a meal, alone with peace, and not one dish to clean. I've always been the one who hosts. Every year, every single family event somehow landed on me. Thanksgiving, 4th of July, birthdays, anniversaries, if it involved food and folding chairs, it ended up at my house. I never fought it much. People always said I was so organized and that I loved to cook, and I told myself that was true. At first, maybe it was. But over the years, it stopped feeling like hosting. It started feeling like work, free labor. No one offered to come early and help. No one stayed late to clean. And no matter how much time I spent planning and preparing, there was always something to complain about. The soda wasn't cold enough. The potato salad was too mustardy. The chairs were too low. Still, I kept doing it. Mostly because Dean, my husband, said it was easier if we just volunteered. Less drama, he said. It's only a few times a year. But last 4th of July changed everything. That morning, I was up by 7. Dean was still asleep. I made fresh iced tea, chopped onions, marinated chicken, shaped 20 burger patties by hand, and made my own damn baked beans because Tara, the queen of criticism, once said the canned kind tasted cheap. I didn't want to hear it. I swept the deck, pulled out the extra chairs, and set up the cooler. Dean helped for about 10 minutes. He moved the grill and then said he was going to shower and get ready. That was at 11. Guests started arriving at 2. By the time everyone showed up, I was dripping with sweat, running around like a waitress. People brought bags of chips and store-bought desserts. Tara showed up late with a pie from the grocery store and acted like she made it herself. No one brought ice, so I had to send Dean out to get some while I managed the grill and answered the constant questions. Where's the bathroom? Do you have napkins? Can you warm this up? No one offered to help. I grilled for over an hour. Everyone got fed. Nobody waited. Not one person thanked me. I finally made myself a plate, a single burger, a spoonful of beans, and half a corn on the cob. I sat down at the corner of the picnic table, took one deep breath, and picked up my fork. Then I heard her voice.
Tara.
Loud and smug. Oh, look, she finally decided to join us.
People laughed.
Not a few. Not just the kids. The adults. My in-laws. My husband. Dean laughed. Not a big laugh, but enough. Enough to make my stomach twist. Enough to burn. I didn't say a word. I didn't make a scene. I just looked down at my plate, then pushed it away. I stood up and walked into the house. Nobody followed me. Nobody asked if I was okay. Not Dean. Not Tara. Not even his mother. I sat alone in the kitchen. It was quiet in there, dark. I could hear them outside, talking, laughing, music playing. My feet ached. My hands smelled like charcoal and onion. My back was sore from standing. I looked out the window and saw Dean with a beer in his hand, talking to his brother like nothing happened. Tara was flipping her hair, smiling. I could have screamed, but I didn't. I stayed in there for the rest of the evening. When people started leaving, they didn't even say goodbye to me. Dean came in around 9, looked confused. Hey, where'd you go? I just stared at him. I was tired. He shrugged. You missed dessert. Then he went to bed. I stayed up and cleaned. Alone. Again. I didn't say anything for weeks.
I didn't even know how.
Every time I thought about that laugh, I felt sick. Then about a month later, Dean came up to me, smiling like a dumb kid. So, Mom's birthday's next weekend. Everyone was saying how great the last barbecue was. Think we could host again? I said no. He blinked. Wait, what?
No.
I'm not doing that again. Babe, come on, no. I'm not cooking. I'm not cleaning. I'm not spending 8 hours in the sun for people who think I'm a joke. He didn't know what to say. I walked out of the room. They ended up trying to do it at Tara's house. That day was the best part of this whole mess. Her yard was small and unshaded. The chairs didn't match. The burgers were burnt. People forgot to bring sides. The plates kept blowing off the table. The drinks were warm. It was chaos. Dean texted me a picture of his sad little plate. Dry burger, wilted lettuce, no ketchup. He added, "We miss you." I didn't reply. I stayed home and made myself real food, salmon, lemon rice, and roasted asparagus. I watched a movie. I lit a candle. I ate slow. I didn't have to get up once. I didn't clean a single dish. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I mattered.
To me.
After that failed birthday party, things shifted. At first, Dean tried to act like everything was normal. He'd make casual comments like, "Next time, maybe we'll plan better," or, "It's not the same without your touch." I didn't respond. I was done pretending it didn't matter. I was done being the one they leaned on and laughed at in the same breath. But the silence between us grew. One night, 2 weeks later, he sat down next to me on the couch while I was watching TV and said, "You've been different lately." I didn't look at him.
No.
"I've just been honest." He exhaled, annoyed. "You're still mad about what Tara said?" I turned to him then.
No.
"I'm mad that she said it and you laughed. I'm mad that no one helped me. I'm mad that I disappeared and nobody even noticed." "It was a joke," he said, as if that erased everything. "That's the problem," I said. "You all treat me like I'm the help. Not your wife. Not your sister-in-law. Just someone to feed you and shut up." He didn't answer right away. Then he said something that hit harder than anything Tara ever could. "Well, if you're so unhappy, why didn't you say something before?" I stared at him. 10 years of hosting, cooking, cleaning, carrying the weight of every family event. 10 years of holding it in so there wouldn't be fights. And he really thought I was the one who hadn't said enough. After that, we didn't talk much. I stopped making dinner. I started eating on my own schedule. I'd make something for myself and leave him to figure it out. Sometimes he brought home takeout. Sometimes he made eggs and toast. He never said thank you. Then came the next twist.
Tara called me.
It was a Tuesday afternoon and I almost didn't answer. But curiosity got the better of me. "Hey," she said, too sweet. "What do you want?" She laughed nervously. "Okay, so awkward. We're doing a surprise party for Dean's dad. It's kind of a big deal. And everyone was hoping, well, you know, that you might help." I almost dropped the phone. "You're calling me to ask for help?"
I said slowly.
"Yeah, well, we kind of realized how much you usually do, and we could really use your expertise." I stayed quiet for a second, then asked, "Who's hosting?" "Me and Janine," she said. "Then you don't need me." "Come on. Don't be petty." That word.
Petty.
Like I was the problem. Like they hadn't used me for a decade, and then laughed in my face. "I'm not being petty," I said. "I'm just not stupid anymore." I hung up. Later that night, Dean brought it up. "She must have called him. Tara said you were rude." I laughed. "She asked me to help with the party after what happened." I said no. He looked frustrated. "So now you're just cutting everyone off?" "No," I said. "I'm just done being walked on." That night, he slept on the couch. The distance between us got bigger. We barely spoke. I started going out by myself, eating alone, reading at the park, walking without telling him. And then one day, I saw something that flipped the whole story upside down. At a coffee shop, across the room, I saw Dean. He was sitting with Tara. She was leaning in close, laughing. And he wasn't pulling away. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I took a picture. I left without being seen. And I waited to see how deep this went.
How far they'd lie.
How long they'd pretend everything was fine while my world cracked around them. And I started planning. Quietly. Carefully. Because the best part of hosting all those years? I knew everything about all of them. And now, it was my turn to serve something they wouldn't forget. I didn't show Dean the photo. Not yet. I wanted to see how long he'd keep lying to me. I watched his patterns, when he went out, how often, how late. I started checking his location on our shared phone plan. I looked through our shared credit card transactions. Most things were normal: gas, groceries, coffee. But then I saw a charge at a boutique I knew he'd never step foot in. It was the same place Tara loved to brag about. The one she dragged me to once years ago and laughed when I said the prices were insane. $174.32. I checked the date. It was the day after their little coffee meeting. He never mentioned it. Never brought anything home for me. Not a thing. I didn't say anything for another week. Instead, I invited Dean's mom over. Just her. I told her I wanted to catch up, no pressure. I made her tea. She sat at my kitchen table, happy, talking about the weather and her plants. Then I asked casually, "Do you think Tara and Dean ever talk when I'm not around?" She looked confused. "Well, they're siblings-in-law. I'm sure they talk sometimes." I smiled. "I saw them at a coffee shop together last week. Just the two of them." She paused, her hand hovering over her cup. "You sure?" "Pretty sure." And she was laughing like she was on a date. She didn't say anything. I leaned in. "You ever wonder why Tara's been single for years, but always in the middle of everyone's marriage?" She shifted uncomfortably. "What are you trying to say?" "I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just done being quiet." She left not long after. I knew that would stir the pot. And it did. 2 days later, Dean came home angry. "What the hell did you say to my mom?" I didn't flinch. "The truth." "She said you're spreading rumors about me and Tara." I stood up. "You're lying to me." "You've been seeing her behind my back." "I saw you." I took a picture. "You want me to show you?" He froze. Finally, he muttered, "We were just talking." "Then what's the boutique charge, Dean? You buying yourself a new blouse?" He had no answer. I walked past him. "You want to talk to Tara so bad? Call her. Invite her over. Let's all talk." He didn't. And that told me everything I needed to know. So I started pulling threads. I went to Janine, the other sister-in-law, who never liked Tara. We talked. I told her everything. The barbecue, the laughter, the phone call, the boutique charge, the coffee shop. She didn't even pretend to be surprised. "I always thought something was weird between them," she said. "Remember when Dean skipped our baby shower and said he had a work thing? I found out later he was at Tara's place helping her move a couch." It all started adding up. The family was a mess. And now, I was done being the quiet one who made the beans and wiped the tables. I was ready to burn it down. One paper plate at a time. Once I had Janine on my side, it didn't take long to get the others talking. Turns out a lot of people had stories like mine, small things, comments, jabs, little moments when Tara went too far and nobody spoke up. But they all stayed quiet because that's what families do, right? Keep the peace, avoid drama, pretend everything's fine. Not anymore. I printed out the photo of Dean and Tara at the coffee shop. I slipped it into a birthday card and sent it to Dean's dad. "Happy belated. Hope you enjoy this memory." A week later, he called me. Just 2 words. "I'm sorry." I said, "Too late." I didn't stop there. I sent the boutique receipt to Janine, and she passed it to Tara's ex, the one she was still in a custody fight with. That little gift from Dean helped show she wasn't spending her money wisely or honestly. I didn't feel bad. Then I hosted one last event. A family dinner. At my house. I told everyone I wanted to clear the air. I told Dean it was a peace offering. He was nervous, but he came. So did Tara. So did everyone else. I cooked a small dinner, nothing fancy, just pasta and bread. I didn't even make dessert. About halfway through the meal, I stood up and said, "I've got something to say." Dean looked scared. Tara rolled her eyes. I held up the photo. "Remember this?" Everyone looked. This was them. Last month. Coffee shop. Alone.
Gasps.
Silence. Dean started to speak. I cut him off. "This was after you laughed at me. After you all watched me serve and clean and walk away from a table without a single person noticing." I looked at Tara. "You called me petty, but you're a snake." Then I turned to Dean. And you? You're weak. You let them use me. You let her humiliate me. And when I finally stood up for myself, you called me the problem. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a folder, tossed it on the table. Divorce papers. Already signed. I'm done. Dean's mouth dropped. Tara turned red. His mom started crying. I didn't care. They had 10 years to treat me like family. They chose convenience instead. I walked out that night with my head high and a packed bag. I had a place lined up already. Janine helped. She even offered to help me move. A week later, Dean tried to reach out. Left voicemails, sent flowers. Too little. Way too late. I blocked his number. The last I heard, Tara lost part of her custody rights for hiding income. Dean moved in with a buddy, then lost that place after he couldn't keep up with rent. Family events got awkward. Nobody volunteers to host anymore. People bring their own food now. No one trusts each other. But me? I eat alone now. In peace. With food I actually enjoy. And not one dirty dish that isn't mine. They used to laugh when I served them. They're not laughing now.